Hello, everyone. Hello. If you are just joining us, this is Open the Door Part 4. This is Open the Door Part 4. And I'm just going to bring the wonderful Dapz in to join us. Hello there, mate. How are you?
How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Welcome back.
Yeah, this is our final part of this series. We've been doing this for a month. Can you believe it? How quickly time flies. That's mental.
Time does fly when you're having fun.
It does fly. I'm just pinning a couple of comments up there so that people have them. And
Barry's already in there. Hello, Barry.
Hello, Barry. How are you, Barry? It's awesome. And I'm just getting to the front here so that I can just pin this. Is there a way to do this? You should be able to just pin this, but it's giving me trouble anyway. Whatever, I'll figure it out. Let's see. That's host. Yeah, you should be able to pin that thing. Anyway, all right, people are joining us. Hello, Rob. Hello, Shane. Hello, Dean Nicholson. Hello, everyone. Oh, look, everyone, the gang's all here. Yay.
I know everyone's here. Yes, up, Mr. Paul Rayner. What we saying, man?
Wow. Hello, Paul. Long time. Yeah. Big shout out to everyone who's here. We've got a fun couple of hours ahead of us. We've been having a good chat before about how we're going to do this, and we're a bit sad it's the last one. I think Dapz and I are thinking that we'll do it again. So here's the thing. I've put some links up there at the top. There is a poll. You know, I love a poll. And if you could just take 1 minute to fill that poll in, it will let us know if this is something you want us to do again. We can tailor it to your needs, right, Dapz?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You know, we can do something and make it regular. We're thinking of doing this regular because we've had such a good time doing it, and it's a good thing to pay it forward. You know, this scene's given a lot to us, and we'd like to give something back. But we'd like to do this for real on the regular. And so, you know, why don't you go ahead and fill out that link that's at the very top, and let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. Because I think that would really be cool.
Yeah, it'll be good because...
Yeah, go on, Dapz.
All the feedback and some of the tags that we've been getting tagged in on Facebook, people saying this is so great, you know, the information's brilliant. And yeah, like you say, it'd be a shame to just cut it off because, you know, like we were saying just before we started the show, we feel like it's now starting to create momentum, you know, this show itself. So it'd be a shame to just say, oh, that's it, we're done now.
That's it. We've had our fill of you.
That's it. Done.
you lot, you're done. I'm just going to copy it over. Hold on 1 second, and I'll put it in again. Copy.
Easy, Spencer. Hope you're good, man. Good to see you again, mate.
Here you go. That's the poll. I guess it's pinned if it's got a star on it. I don't know. Before it said...
I'd imagine there's something there.
Something there. So
either way, we could just keep dropping it in.
There you go. All right. So what we've got today is we've got another 9 or 10 tracks that we're going to go through that have been submitted this week. Thank you for your submissions, you guys. Some really great music there. And then what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of what I was supposed to do last week. I'll just do some quick fixes at the end of things that you guys sent me the week before so that we don't forget about that. And then we can do some questions right at the end. So yeah. Thank you, Dan. He says, you're both absolutely splendid. Well, we think you're splendid too. All right. So, Dapz, should we start with you and bring in your session?
Yeah, sure.
Hold on, let's go. How about we look at number 1, which is Dark Matter VIP 3 Master. I'll bring your thing in, and then you can do your show intent. And then what you'll do when you're ready, I will do the bit of chatting about it.
You do your tap and I'll just press play. So Dark Matter, VIP, 3. Here we go.
it's just a pure expression of joy. Pure, it's like a celebration of existence. The coming of spring, sunrise, pure, unbounded joy. I don't think we've really done that. A celebration of existence.
Cool.
Boom.
Do you want to do your bit first, hun?
Yeah, can do. Some really nice comments there from everyone.
Hello, everyone. Dapz, just one thing. If you're going to be
Yeah.
doing show and tell with the computer, let me know. If not, I'm going to take your screen off.
Leave the screen on for a second,
Okay.
because there's a couple of things that I noticed while playing it. Firstly, I just think the intro, I don't know, the intro's nice. The whole track feels like a nice film score. It's got a nice theme going to it. But the technical aspects for me is the intro is nice and stereo, as we can see in this meter here. But then when we go to the drop, it's just a line. And at first I thought, hang on a minute, is this playing actually in mono? Like, have I actually monoed it? So check the drop. It's just mono. So if I hit sides, this is playing the stereo information only. Now play it on the drop. See, there's just no noise whatsoever. So is that intentional? You know, is this an actual choice that you wanted it to be mono? I think it might have been maybe a mistake, because the Amen sounds... Because I felt like the Amen had this phase to it. It felt phasey. And I'm guessing the Amen was a stereo channel, but it's now monoed, so hence the phase. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But it'd be nice to know. If he's in the chat, maybe let me know. I think the balance of the tune's great. It's not got that 100% clarity. I mean... It could be worked upon a little bit, but other than that, it's nice and punchy. It's definitely loud enough. It'll be, I don't know, for me, it'd be nice if it had a bit more weight to the tune, because you can see, like, as what we've just played on the span meter here, the low end is quite far below the rest of the frequencies. So it'd be nice to see it just up a little bit, just to feel a bit more weight. I don't know, but Rap, what are you saying?
What am I saying?
What are you saying about the track? It's a tricky one. What are you saying?
Firstly, just want to say hi to everybody who's joining us, and thanks so much. And also, thank you so much for sharing your tunes with
Yeah.
us, because it takes a lot of bravery to do that. And I want to make sure everyone in the chat is respectful and nice. And this isn't about tearing each other's tunes down, it's about supporting each other
Yeah.
and creating a community. So let's make sure we keep it that way. I will be blocking anyone who does not do that. I love to block. So, yeah, so let's talk about that tune, Dark Matter. Okay, so I'm going to read my notes because I put this in intro.
Cool.
And how we're working with Dapz is handling the mix mastering side of things, and I'm sort of handling all the other bits. So for me, the intro, it's unmixable. You need to be able to have a hat in there or something to keep rhythmic time so that people will be able to mix in there. So intro hat, so people will start mixing from, otherwise people will start mixing from the beat. And what will happen, because DJs will gravitate towards that naturally, what will happen is you've lost the impact of your drop. Because the track's in mono, we've lost all the bass. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, on a desktop, on your phone, you've lost all the weight in that. So for me, there's nowhere for the track to go if it just continues with this beat and it doesn't have any variations in it and a drop. So for me, start with a filtered beat or something like that, hat, something leading into the drop, you know what I mean? Have a little bit of a space, have the drop happen, and then have another double drop, and then have the bass happen. I mean, these are stylistic choices, but it's a way to keep the track moving and keep it interesting. I like it. I like this dark stuff. I like the vibe, but I feel that if it's just too much of the same thing, it can be monotonous, even though your elements are really good and they're really strong. You do need to switch it up a little bit. And you had a vocal there in the beginning. You could chop that little audio jitsu, as I call it, chop the vocal up. You could make features out of the sounds you've got, because you've got all the elements you need in there. For me, the bass is I couldn't hear it. I don't know where the bass was. And
sorry, Rap, to just cut in. Is this
you
your
will
tune,
be
Dean?
sorry, mate. You will be sorry.
Yeah, because Dean Nicholson's put, I often mono the aiming break. Is this your tune, or is you just making a quote?
Just making a quote.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Oh.
I think the thing is that when you're making a track, and this is the most important information I can give you, test it on different systems. Back in the day, we tested it on the old car system. You know, if it sounds crap on here, it'll be good anywhere. Or you'd put it on your NS10 speakers like those I've got up there. But test it on not only how it sounds in your headphones, but how it sounds on a phone, how it sounds on your desktop, how it sounds in multiple formats. So you can really see, because generally the rule of thumb is if it's translating well on most formats, you've got a good balanced mix. That's really important. What else have I put here? I'd like to see some variation in this to keep it interesting, and some transitional sounds like effects, good use of the dark materials, his dark materials I put. It sounds pretty original, and that's the important part.
Yeah.
You can teach a monkey a lot of tricks, but you can't teach it to be a monkey, right? So if you're good at writing, half the battle's won. You're great at writing and you're original. That is pure gold. Everything else can be fixed. Everything else can be fixed. So what I would say is you've got some originality there. You've got your own vibe. That's amazing. But let's put these little things in that are formaic and make sure people understand that. And again, the best way to do that is listen to your 5 favorite artists so that you can just compare. What are they doing right? Okay, I like Goldie. I like Metalheads. That's in the vein of what I'm doing. Or I like Aphex Twin. Or I like, whoever. And listen to how they make their tunes interesting. You've got to study people. And you've got to study other people, is what I'm saying. That's really what I was thinking about that.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's a really good tune, as you've said. It's definitely on that Photech vibe, it's definitely along those lines. But I'll be honest with you, it was a struggle to actually pick a fault with this. It's been really well put together. The mix, the I think it's been mastered, or it's been self-mastered of some sort, because I mean it looks really nice. The wave looks nice and fat, so it's a good job. Really, it's a good job.
Yeah, the balance is really nice on the mix. I do like the balance, but I think I'm not sure if it's supposed to just be drums without the bass, because
Yeah, bar that and that mono sort of what's going on. Why is it so mono? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, let's look at Find a Penny. This is a track here. I'm going to bring your computer in so you can play it.
Yeah, Find a Penny. Let's do this.
Pick it up.
I came to the realization that there is a spiritual reality that pervades everything. the cosmos and universe, something out there, around us, in us, beyond us. And that place is a beautiful place, going into the future.
Woo! Wow, that's just beautiful. I
Nice.
love that we're
Yeah,
getting
lovely.
multi-genres here. That's so awesome that people are doing that,
Yeah.
even if they're just trying to get their track flashed on here. That's good. That's good, man. We're here to help. That's amazing. Why don't you go first?
Yeah, wicked. Just to jump in again, Dan, that was your not that tune, but you did the Dark Matter tune.
Well
So
done, Dan.
wicked, mate. Well done, Dan. So hopefully you did hear what we were saying about the tune. If not, obviously watch it back when we're finished. So Find a Penny. This is an absolute wicked tune. Like honestly, it kind of takes you on that journey where it feels like it's house, and then it comes in with the break, and then it's like, okay, cool. It's a lot of interest in this tune. I like it.
I can imagine
Again,
a liquid drum and bass version of that. It would just
exactly.
melt hearts. It's amazing. Good job.
Exactly. I mean, again, the wave, it looks like it's a self master again, because just how fat the wave is. It's probably got a lot of headroom there. There's a lot of headroom going on. Maybe they want it to have headroom to go on things like Spotify or YouTube, just to prevent that. You know what we were talking about. I think it was in week 2 on how YouTube may colour the top end of your tune if it's not been, with the headroom and whatnot. But anyway, I really like this tune. For me, there's a bit of low end frequencies in the side, so we'll play the track in sides again so we can identify that. I did actually see it like coming up on the meters, some low end there, but okay, maybe it was my eyes tricking me, but either way, I like the tune. What I was going to do is just pop an EQ on it, because I felt like it was missing a bit of tops in the actual tune. So
Definitely.
yeah, it was definitely missing a bit of tops. So if we just play it from here, there's no hats there. Okay, so that's where it makes sense. So for me, it's around 1K, 2K. Let's just push it out. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but see how it's brought that break out in the tune, and it sort of makes it feel a bit closer. I'll bypass. Again, I think it may just be a stylistic choice.
No,
but for me,
I don't know if that's the case. I think it's muddy and it needs cleaning up,
Yeah.
and it's missing top end. It's a fantastic track, but we're here to help and put things out. For me, the brightness is definitely
it's
an
a
issue
must.
on
Yeah,
this.
it definitely needs a top end in this. Other than that, I mean, as I say, we've got some really good tunes this week, by the way.
Question for you, Dapz. Question for you, Dapz. If someone sends you that as a pre-master to master, is that something you can easily fix, or do you go back to them and say to them, you need to go back into the mix and brighten things up? Or is this like acceptable as a pre-master? I know it's not, but as acceptable as a pre-master, and then you can fix that. Do you
think,
have the technology, mate?
We can make him better than he was. But basically, let's say that this was a pre-master, because it's not a pre-master. I would listen to the tune the same way as we have, and if I feel like there's a big change that needs to happen, I mean, we're boosting this 3 dB. It might look a lot here, but it's because it's set to like 3 dBs. I would probably go back to the artist and say, look, I've had a listen to the tune, I think it's great, but maybe let's consider X, Y, and Z, boosting the drums in the mid-range or whatever it needs, what needs to happen, and then let's see the difference. Let's work with maybe both of them. I can send them back both copies, this one and the one with the edits they've done, and then they can choose, really.
Nice. Cool. Shall I get onto my notes with it?
Definitely. I mean, again, well done. Find a Penny. It's absolutely great. As I say, for me, it's more top end. The structure of the tune's great. It kept me interested. I could have kept on listening to it, but
Yes.
we've got to get through all these tunes. So well done. Right.
And
Let me know.
there is the rub, right? When you can't stop listening to a tune and you don't want to stop it, that answers everything you need to know. I put similar to you. I just put Find a Penny. Beautiful. Just cleaning up the mixes. It's all a bit muddy. Needs some top end. Pad's writing is all on point. Some crashes with long reverbs will be really nice. Again, glitter, but great job. Needs to be longer if this is a house track. It needs to be at least 5 minutes, and I think it was only a couple of 3 minutes long. But
Yeah,
I've got
3
nothing else
minutes.
to say about that except for it's perfection, beautiful. And make sure when you release that track with whoever you release it with, you get remixes, liquid remixes, drum and bass, because that track, I can just see Bookham or Fabio just, getting a
Yeah.
proper excited, shall we say, over that, because it's a it's a
You're going to
wonderful,
come with
wonderful
something
track.
else then.
I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to. But the point is, it's a beautiful track. It's got extremely good vibes. I didn't want it to end. In fact, when I play at Burning Man, I hope I get a finished copy of that, because I'd love to drop that in my Burning Man set. It's all that kind of out there, psychedelic, beautiful house. But that is gorgeous. All righty then.
I'm back.
Little Dave, be nice. That's your first warning. It doesn't
Dave.
matter if it's not for you. This isn't about whether things are for you or not. This is about supporting each other and learning about mixing. So all genres are welcome here. We are not genreist. And, we want to be nice and supportive to people, because it takes an awful lot of guts to show your tunes to people. It's very vulnerable, like I don't like it when I expose my tracks to other people and go, what do you think? Because you're being vulnerable and showing everyone your little underbelly. So put yourself in people's shoes and ask yourself, how would I feel if this was me? So these people have been incredibly brave. Let's support them, because the world needs more new, wonderful artists. All right,
Yep.
let's move on. Who have we got next? We've got, a track called Chop It Up.
Chop it up.
Jason Ramtahol. I probably mess it up, and I apologize if I have, but the track is called Chop It Up. I'll hand it over to Dapz for his feedback.
Right, let's do this. Ooh, maybe not.
That's not it.
By the way, on this track in particular, Chop It Up, I've had to put a limiter on it because, as you can see, this is more of a pre-master. There's a lot of waves. You can see the peaks here. So I've put a limiter on it because it's not fair to play an unmastered tune against master tunes. Just to bring it up. Lovely stuff.
Chop it up.
It is chop it up. The beats are nice and choppy. Right, so I think it's a nice tune. It's a nice little roller. It's got a touch of jump up in there. I don't know. For me, I mean, this is again personal taste. I mean, I like the tune. It just felt a bit like ploddy, if you know what I mean. Like it was just kind of like plodding along. I don't know how else to put it, but it dropped. But I was excited, but it just plodded on. If you know what I mean, it was just the same thing. It didn't transist into something else, which is a bit of a shame. The intro, for some reason, it's leaning to the left. Like the actual left and right balance feels like it's leaning to one side. So if I just press play,
Calm down. It just had a little drink. It's all right.
a little drunk. Watch. So
Wow.
I'm playing it in sides now, and the whole entire drums have been moved over to the left because you can hear the kick, you can hear the snare, you can hear everything. So let's just play it again in sides. You might say, well, shouldn't I hear it or anything like that? But the thing is, the whole drums have been pushed to the left. Let's play it back in stereo and look at this meter here, the scope. I'll mono it, and just, if you're wearing headphones, you'll notice this probably a lot more than through speakers. But I'll press play, I'll mono it, and then the drums should feel more centered, and then that's exactly where they should be, really. Especially the kick. The kick should really be in mono. I don't know about you, Rat, but did you notice the drums feel like in your head they moved over to the center and then they moved back to the left every time I went stereo mono?
Yeah, it was a little. It was definitely tipsy.
Yeah, definitely tipsy. We're getting tipsy. So for me, right, there's a break in here as well. It's a bit too resonant. So yeah, the kick for me is creating a problem in the low end, because if the kick had less bass, then it would sit nicer with the sub. Looking at the waveform itself, I mean, I know the tune's called Chop It Up, so that's why you've gone for this nice choppy feel, but because of how chopped up it is and how spiky it is, you're losing a lot of like weight, not the weight, but like the fullness of the tune. And we spoke about this in week 2 about the crest factor of the track, and the crest factor is, you know, compression, limiting, clipping, and just trying to squeeze the information in, bring the lower levels up and the louder levels down to make it more fuller, so it feels fuller. You'd have to limit this tune, not limit, you have to clip these drums. You need to clip your drums in order to bring them forwards more in the mix and add more harmonic content into the actual drums. If I just adjust the sub,
I wonder about side chaining a bit more with the beat and the sub.
yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. I'm going to bring up Vision 4, and we'll have a look at how what sort of space the kick and the subs have in the relationship here in red. So realistically, what we're going to be looking out for is when the kick hits, does this red blob, which is the bass, the sub, does it drop out just before the kick hits? Anyone who's used to seeing one of these spectrograms will probably understand it, but to others, they might be like, what the hell are you looking at? So that there's the kick. So no, there is no side chaining, and the reason why I say that is because these, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but these red blobs is the kick, this is the sub, and there is no, the kick's not cutting through this block here. They need to be separate. Looking at the key of the kick, it's saying it's E1 and the bass is hitting at A0, sorry. I don't think they would work fundamentally because of the key differences. I mean, this is getting really technical on someone's mix down, and in no way am I going to try and make it sound awful, but I think this is a great tune. It just needs a little bit of work in the drums and making the basses more aggy in order to fill out the harmonic content.
There's a technical term for you, Aggie.
Aggie like Maggie.
Aggie. All right. For me, I hear so much potential in this track, and I really liked so much of it. There was a lot of originality in it. But for me, what I'd love to hear is some jungly sub wobble. So when it's going boom, ba-dum, bum, bum, boom, you know, variations. They're your friend. And in a track, let's jump up like that and encourage and adding some of those little, you know, wobbly sub basses and some elements in there to keep it interesting. It could have really taken off, especially if you've got a little vocal in there. So you go like ba-dum, bum, bum, huh, you know, or manipulate the vocal to go, you know, down, you know, like you hear it a lot on all these tracks. Like it's the devil is in the details. And when you add those details to your track, they make something that is really simple just sound continuously interesting. I've put here nice drums, good use of sounds, easy to mix, could add some more percussion, shaker, riser, good mix overall, nice balance, maybe some bass variations, but that's a stylistic choice. I would add more jungle to this, some bass wobbles, but that's just me. For me, otherwise it becomes a little bit monotonous, but I think it's a great track. It's got a good start, put it that way. And you know, all the things that Dapz said about the mix, that's the mix stuff. But for me, again, the fact that you're picking interesting sounds, it's quite unique. It doesn't sound like everyone else's track. That's a win for me. And I'd invite you to possibly make it a bit more exciting, because see, things like big breakdowns, you know, and drum rolls and drum fills and chopping up the vocal to match the snare drum roll or the kick roll. There's simple things you can do to make your track exciting. It doesn't have to be a riser every track. It could be a vocal being filtered. You could put Endless Smile on a vocal or the master mix and just like, you know, create this amazing reverb effect. There's so many things you can do. And why make your track... Listen, when you're on the dance floor, your tracks have to hit hard. So let's make our tracks as exciting as possible, because you're up there against artists that just check the top 100. You're up there against some heavyweights, and they just don't make their tunes just roll along. There's big breakdowns, there's impact, there's drop. Listen to Phoebes, Vibes, whatever you want to call him. Is it Vibes or Phoebes?
Phoebes is, I don't know, call it what you will.
Well, they're brilliant. Anyway, whatever. The point is like, if you listen to any one of these producers who are amazing, sorry, I got the name wrong. You know, they never do just okay tracks that just like trot along and that's it. You know, there's always a big impact. So I think you need to remember to do that. Big impacts, big drops, vocal edits, use effect tricks, use something to just create these stutters. And let's create some dynamics in your tracks, because that's what makes them exciting. You know, you've got the bass, you've got the beats. Let's make them exciting. All right, okay, let's move on. We've got a track called... Oh, and by the way, if you want to have questions for us, as you know, the last half hour, save your questions. But for those of you, I saw a couple of questions earlier on. If you want to know how to submit tracks, that ship has sailed for this month. However, if you sign up to Open the Door, it's free. I put the links at the very top of this chat and I'll put it in again now. Sign up and we'll notify you when we're going to do this again. And then, you know, we'll pick tracks from everybody. We've got like about 600 subscribers, which is a great start. Make sure you fill out the poll for us. And, you know, we'll do this again and we'd love to help you with your tracks. All right, moving on.
Yep, cool.
Little Things. Is it Juriah Smith?
It's induction. It's, yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Well, anyway, this track, Little Things, induction edit. Let's go with this one. I'll bring
Man Like Induction inside.
Man Like Induction.
Think this must be our time. Nothing you said, it was all in your eyes. And I get feeling for just one time. Is it the things that get me high? Won't you come with me and spend the night? If it is the thing for you and I, and if it's meant to be, then that's alright. Is it the things that get me high? Won't you come with me and spend the night? If it is the thing for you and I, and if it's meant to be, then that's alright. With you is such a sweet escape. So if we leave, will anybody notice? If you don't wanna play these games, just tell me what you need and we can go there. Only if for the weekend I just stepped out with my friends.
Yo, yo. Okay. Okie dokie. So, a little claim on this one, because I actually mastered this tune a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So, I when Induction sent it, and well, when we listened to it, I was like, I recognise this tune, and then I did a quick search for it on my computer, and I was like, I mastered this tune. So this is a great tune, man. It sounds great, obviously, because it's been mastered by us. So no, joking. No, with all jokes aside, I really like this tune. I think it sounds great. Induction, I think he's already put in the comments that it's a free download on his SoundCloud. So a little bit of promotion for you there, mate.
Why is it free? Why isn't this
It's
out on a
'cause
label?
It's because of the sample, I'm guessing, the vocals and stuff.
Oh, well then, yeah. You have my blessing.
But the thing is, right? The thing is, I mean, me and you were just talking in the private chat just then about this tune.
What I would have done is got someone to re-sing that and, and you know, get a vocalist, and that's going to be a big tune for them, you know?
Absolutely. It's such a good tune, man. I mean, you're doing the right thing by putting it out as a free download, you know what I mean? But as Rap says, if you want to make the transition into something, then possibly recreate the samples your end, you know, using individual hits or breaks or whatever, and then just get someone to sing something along the lines of what they've done. Not obviously the same words, lyrics, whatever, but just sing similar. Do you know what I mean?
The only issue with that is once you've put the tune out as a mashup, people, or as a free download or whatever it is, people are used to that. Then they get demoitis. They like that version. So if you're going to do this in the future, you know, what I would recommend is getting a vocalist in to either re-sing it and something similar, and don't put out this version because people will like it, and then you're asking them to choose.
I think I even suggested sending it to the label. Try and just send it to their
Absolutely.
info.
They can only say no.
They can only say no, or you've missed the boat or something. Again, I mean, it's something that I did many, many years ago. And they said to me, like, we can't take this now because that boat sailed. But, you know, it's great. You know, it's a great remix of what you did for us. I think even me and Paul Rayner, who's in the chat today, like we managed to do a remix of a track featuring Fat Man Scoop and stuff like that called Bass Dunk. So, you know, and that was just by making a tune and sending it off to the right people.
Here's the important thing about that. If you do that, even if you get a no, you're now on their radar, and they will consider you possibly for other remixes, others. You knock something out of the park like that, and you've got people's attention right away. And even if they're like, no, we don't want that. I did a remix for Katy Perry a long time ago. It was a house track, And even though like it didn't end up making the radar because they had so many remixes, I ended up getting a lot of work from that major label because of the remix that I'd given them. So never be, that's a resource. That's you want to be on people's radar. It's a good thing to do.
So let's just have a quick dive into the tune because, as I say, jokes aside, 90% of why this tune's good is because of the mix down, is because of the sounds he's used, is because of the sound selection. That is the most important thing to note here, is that it ain't the mastering. This is his mix. Like, it's the mix that is making you go, wow, this sounds great. I just added that 10% to bring it up to where it needed to be. So if we just play the track and I'll put it in sides, listen to the information in the sides. Then in mono, stereo, so what I'm trying to show here is that the sides information it's not cluttered. There's not one sound louder than the other and then this one's too bright or that one's got low end in it. It's as if it's been shaped perfectly so that whatever's in the stereo information is just, I call it ear candy. You play the track in mono, then I'll flick to stereo and there's no difference other than it feels like it's got wider. The track doesn't change and like, oh, but where's that bass come from or where's that snare come from? Because that's what does happen in some people's tunes. There's some elements that are so wide that when you play it in mono, that element disappears or it phases or there's some weird technical problem. So I'll just play it in mono and then I'll flick to stereo. Just keep an eye on these top two buttons so you can see. So that's the point being is it doesn't change. It just feels like the tune gets wider and that's exactly what you want. You don't want elements to drop in or drop out every time you go from stereo to mono. So the other thing, a technical thing that I feel could have been done better, and that's no disrespect to anybody, is how the sample's been time stretched. I know it's like a freebie and you probably would have gone into it a lot further if it was an official release. But I just feel like the time stretching on this, you can hear it. It's like it's got a lot of artifacts and aliasing. Like especially there on that drum roll, it's like zingy, like it's like got this zing sound to it. Like it's been stretched. That's my only like critique of this whole tune, is just how it's been time stretched, and that's not your fault. You know what I mean? You've just gone ahead and done your thing. So well done. I think this is an absolute beast.
Awesome sauce. Sometimes when I listen to tracks, I get tune envy, and I definitely got it with that one. I was like, man, perfect sounds and great choice, and just this person just really knows how to put tracks together. I mean, I'd play this on my Cool FM show. This is radio all over it, but at the same time, just Spotify massive. And the good news when you're giving away free tracks is you're just building up an audience and people to love you more and get to see what you're capable of. So I expect big things from this artist in the future. For me, I've put little things here. Excuse the pun. Love this track, perfect for radio. I would have changed. I wasn't a fan of that intro. I felt like the intro was just disjointed and had nothing really to do with the song. And I would have done more like the breakdown as the intro. But that's just a stylistic choice. I sort of was like, what's the point of this bit? How's that thread with the next bit? But I'm kind of a bit anal about that. I like things to all make sense and be cohesive, but again, that's just a stylistic choice, because coming straight when the drum's just a bit like whoa. For me the track starts at 0.22. Great choice of sounds, nice mix. To me, this is extremely high quality, good vibes music. And anyone who got to sign something like that would be extremely lucky. That is a great track. And I wish you all the best in the future with that.
Just to quickly add to it before we move on, because I noticed you just put that the original tempo was 135. So in this case, like I mean, Rap just killed it by saying, really should have come with this as the intro.
With you is such a sweet.
Or maybe a radio edit, something.
Hold
But
on, mate. That's why they pay me the big bucks. Come on.
that's why we go with the big bucks. So for me,
If
rather
only.
than so for me, rather than starting off with the time stretch loop, I would have come with something else, like possibly recreated some sort of hip hop beat or something, and had that like as an effect, like put it through like a like a mid-band phone effect or something, or have it so it's echoing in and out. And it's a weird one, but for me, if you've got to make a drastic change in time stretching something and you hear that aliasing or the artifacts, use it as an effect. Like use the sample you're time stretching as an effect. So
You know
put
what could be
filters on it.
cool? You know it could be cool if they used it. You know when you're in the other room and you hear the bass and it's sort of
Yeah,
in another
yeah.
room? That could be really cool. And then you open the
yeah.
door and then you walk in and the track's like that. I mean, that's a cool trick to do with something that can't be fixed. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. But other ways you could have gone about this is, I mean, you can see the DAW I'm using is Reaper. One of the best programs I've used for time stretching, believe it or not, is Cubase. Cubase is like phenomenal. The way the way its algorithm works for time stretching stuff, it's really good. I've not found a DAW or program that is as good. So
really?
yeah, Cubase is phenomenal.
Better than Ableton?
Ableton's good, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Ableton's very good as
I
well.
was going to say, come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Ableton
come on,
created
man.
the whole thing on warping. You can't warp better than Bableton. What?
Oh, Ableton, So no, just quickly then to wrap this up, right? If try other ways like speeding the loop up and then using some sort of pitch shifter to pitch it down rather than time stretching it, because sometimes that can work. Like if this was at 135, keep pitching it up a semitone, and then all of a sudden it's in time, then pitch it down. Sometimes that works better than a stretch because you're physically speeding up the groove and then you're using a pitch utility to change the pitch or the tone. Sometimes that works better.
Let's not get into DAW wars, you lot. I can
No.
see you on there going, I use Ableton, I use this. It's whatever you use.
Whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Do you know what? I said this last week. I said Ronnie gave me some great advice, but he also gave me a second bit of gold. And I never forget this. He goes, Rap, it's not about what you use, it's how well you know how to use it. And just learn whatever DAW you're on, inside out, backwards, forwards, because when you master your DAW, then all doors are open to you.
Oi, oi.
But seriously, like learn what you're using. It doesn't matter if you're on Logic, they've all got things to offer that are slightly
Yeah.
different from each other. And it's what you're good at, because if you know how to use that instrument backwards, forwards, then you can get what's in your head out onto your DAW. Do you know what I mean? And that's the important thing, not to be stuck going,
Yeah.
I don't know how to use this or that. You want to be sitting there going, this needs that. Boom, I know what plugin to pull out,
Yeah.
or things like that. All righty.
Okay.
Let's move on to, is it Machiavelli?
Machiavelli, yeah. Everything for you.
you. Here we go.
Right, let's do this. Sorry.
Let's get into that.
I was like, wow. Machiavelli inside.
Machiavelli. You know what that means, don't you? Machiavelli. He was a villainous type. If you research Machiavelli, which I haven't, but I just know he was naughty. He did Machiavellian things, like evil
Machiavellian.
things. Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
hear it in a lot of bars, a lot of people chat. Anyway, this is really nice. I love the jungle vibe. It's not a mastered tune. There's a lot of peaks on the drums. Can you see these peaks, everybody? Don't know if you can see them peaks or not. See how proud those bad boys are. Definitely get a clipper on your drums because they are peaking like a bad boy. So if I was to just bring up some sort of clipper, just to show you, we'll go with this because it's more visual. I want to set it up so it's not going to get louder as I start increasing the threshold. So let's just see how it's catching the peaks. And what we'll do is we'll look at the size scope over here. Look at the scope over here. And you'll see how... I'm just going to turn this down. So look at the peaks on size scope. And if I turn the clipper off, back on, we have gained literally about a dB to 2 dBs. I mean, I can go more. Bypass. So all we're doing here is we're just taking those peaks off the drums, and what it's doing is it's creating so much more headroom. So then we can either make it louder, or you know, whatever you're trying to do stylistically. But the point of this being is all these peaks here are going to absolutely make your limiter behave in a strange way, or a compressor or something that is going to lower the signal or attenuate the signal because it's just too peaky. The thicker line here, that's the crest factor that we keep mentioning, and really we need these peaks to just be at least half of what they are, just so that it makes things more cohesive and it just gels it in more. I've always known or found that it's best to clip transient sounds and limit dynamic sounds, so basses use a limiter, vocals limiter, blah blah blah, those sort of things, they're classed as dynamic sounds or dynamic elements. Transient elements like percussion, use a clipper because it shaves off the peaks, and it also will add harmonic content depending on how hard you're smashing it.
So why don't we clarify that for people who are maybe newer? Let's say you've got a drum bus. You've got in that drum bus, you've got your kick, snare. Maybe you've got a couple of breaks in there, or another break bus in there. You've got everything included. Which channels are you going to be putting your clippers on for people who are brand new at this? Or I mean, what would you put it on the bus? Would you put it on each individual channel? Let's break that down, because I think I get a lot of questions with people asking stuff like that. And for me, you know, I've got my drum bus and I've got my effects on the drum bus, and I don't necessarily put them on the channels. I'm more putting my effects on the drum buses, but everyone's different.
I think it's a case of it just depends, because let's say you're wanting to do a bit of sound design where the kick is just hammering, so you're going to want to put some transient shape on the kick to get it poking, get it nice, probably a bit of EQ to scoop out any areas you don't need, and then clip it so that that peak doesn't just fly out the box, and then possibly use some saturation or something. But again, this is stylistic choice on the individual element. But as you just said, Rap, you can put your kick, your main kick, your main snare, and possibly a hi-hat, to make them feel like they're part of the same family or the same frequency, and then put a clipper on the group, so your kick, hat and snare's gone to a bus, and you clip that, so it's doing it as one, it's gelling them as one, so to speak.
Right, cool. I'm not sure if this track was just meant to be a snippet, but I'm like, where's the intro? Where's the breakdown? Where's the rest of it? I want the head, the tail, the whole goddamn fish. I think that I put in my notes here, love this track, but where's the intro? Good choice of sounds. You captured rave perfectly. That old school vibe keeps rolling. I like it a lot. I didn't get bored of it. I mean, it's just a snippet, so it needs a longer version and the breakdown. So, I don't like getting snippets because then I give the wrong information, because maybe there is all that other stuff and I just didn't get to see it. But for me, obviously, coming from the writing perspective and the arrangement perspective and what's missing from the track, that's what's missing from it. But you've got everything in the meat and potatoes of the track. So all you'd have to do is take some of those elements from the bit that's rolling. You set your bar at 8 bars and you've got your bass and all those elements rolling in. So definitely take a couple of those elements out and start to thread them through to an intro. And the other thing about that track is definitely, again, variations. I'm hearing a lot of tunes today that are just lacking variations. So, 8 bars, something happens after 8 bars. 8 bars, something else happens after 8 bars. You need those little breaks, those drops, those vocal hooks, those little things to keep it interesting, because, imagine you're dancing, right? You're in a hot club, okay? You're dancing, you're at Jungle Mania, the steam's coming up off you, do you know what I mean? And you're like going, and it's like 10 o'clock, and now it's 11 o'clock, and it's 12 o'clock, and by 1 o'clock, you can have a heart attack, mate. You got to take people up and down on the journey, do you know what I mean? Like, it can't just be bang, bang, bang. There has to be variations in the tune, because no one, unless they're an athlete, will dance for 3.5 minutes at 174 BPM without getting tired.
Yeah.
So keep it interesting, because that's what happens. Sometimes us DJs call it mong crowd, where everyone's just like all mongy and they're sort of like, they're tired, you know what I mean? Because they've been doing whatever they've been doing. And it's our job as DJs to play tracks that will get them mad again and going up and create that energy and bring the energy up. And, we do that by picking tunes that have the most energy in them. So even though your tune might be great, if it doesn't have that breakdown, if it doesn't have that energy, you know what? For me, I'm only going to play your tune on radio then. Because that's a radio tune. In fact, when I do my Cool FM show, I do 3 folders, like promos, liquid, and in the club, right? So if you've got to decide, where do I want my tune to be played? Do I want it to be played across the board? In other words, it has to have vocals, it has to have a great bass drop if you want it to conquer the club and conquer Spotify as well, or do you just want it to be a listening track? Do you know what I mean? Should this just be something that people listen to and enjoy doing what they're doing, whatever? But if you want it to work in the club and you want DJs to play it, most DJs are going to look for the tunes that will bring the most energy, because we want that reaction out of the crowd. Facts.
Yeah, 100%.
Facts.
Okay.
All right. Next is we've got Soul Foundation, Past Memories. Hit it, Dapz.
Here we go. Definitely not mono, bro. That's mono. Lovely, lovely, lovely stuff.
That's the summer track, isn't it?
Oh, that's lovely. That's really nice. Spencer, hopefully you got it sorted your end, mate, because it's definitely not in mono.
Are you talking about the
Okay.
stream? Is the stream
Yeah.
in mono? Yeah, no.
No, I think he said somewhere down the line he's monitoring it weird. But hey ho.
We also had a question, someone asking, what does the scope do? I don't know if you want to answer that.
The scope, as in, okay, so the scope is giving me the information of the stereo field of the track. So whether you can see this, let's see if we can open this up. I don't know if it enlarges. Oh, it does, wicked. So you got left, you got right, and anything down the middle is mono. So anything you see floating around here, we can open it up a bit more. Anything you see floating around on the left side obviously indicates there's information on the left, information on the right. You can get other scopes that will show you phase, like where there's phase problems. I kind of like using this because your ears can trick you. I mean, we spoke about this before. You could be in your car, going to work, going wherever, and let's just say your car stereo is not the greatest, and then you go to your studio and you got really nice speakers. Whatever you play is going to sound great regardless, because your ears have tuned into what you've just been listening to. So going back to the beginning of this tune here, at first when I was playing the tune I was like, oh my god, have I put an EQ on it? Has it been high pass? Because it feels very, very high pass. The reason why I like this scope is because see that red circle that's around it, it's kind of indicating how wide is this tune, and then you've got like the line in the middle which is indicating whether it's leaning to the left, leaning to the right. So it really does give you some valid information. How do you get the audio to look like a block? Mainly limiting, clipping. It's because you're pushing the peaks down and you're bringing the lower aspects up and the louder aspects down. But we can probably answer that question a bit later on or something. Right.
Sure
If you're still
thing.
there.
Yeah, I am. I'm just answering
Okay.
a couple of people here.
Yeah, just some absolute, honestly, just big ups to everybody in the chat, because there's some amazing questions. There's some amazing things you lot are talking about. I can see it. It's just really difficult to sort of pinpoint that particular time. But anyway, I love this tune. The energy in it is very soulful. There's a lot of energy there. It's kind of like logistics sort of sounding, total science sort of sounding, when they're on that nice sort of roller, intelligent vibe, the liquid vibe. For me, I because it's an MP3, it's going to be really weird to sort of analyze, because I don't think it's a 320 either. When I press play in sides, it sounds very washy. It's like very washy, and that's not the tune. That's the MP3 encoding it to make it less, basically bringing the file size down, and that's what it does. Is it takes away from the sides. So it's a shame, really. What I felt was it's missing low mids. So if we go back to an EQ yet again, and we'll play the track. For me, it's around here. If I bypass, I don't know about you, but it just feels like when I brought those lower mids up, the amen come to life. It feels like the aim is more forwards now and filling. And when you bypass it, it just feels like it, not that it goes flat, but it feels like the amen's been scooped, like it's scooped out. I'll do that before and after again. So with EQ. And for me, that's my only gripe. The layout, the tune, the production, the way they've made this, put the tune together in general. I really like it. I just feel like it's just missing them lower mids, which is really important, especially on smaller speakers. That's where the juice is. That's where the energy is.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what I put here. Good intro, nice choice of sounds, stunning track, great for radio, summer vibes, awesome vibe, great writing. I was just, but this is a stylistic thing for me. I'm not such a fan of just amen, amen, amen. I would have liked that to have been a break underneath and a kick snare on the top of that. I think that would have taken it like a boom, boom, I think that could have lifted it up. But again, that's a stylistic choice. Personally, I would have EQ'd the amen break and then added a kick snare on top of that to give it that bass heavy sort of sound. But again, a stylistic choice. I feel that to get the amen right on its own and use it as the only break it's really tricky. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really tricky. So for me, I would use it as a break underneath and then put an actual kick snare copying that amen pattern on the top. But, for me, it was just missing weight. And that hard spank of a snare and a kick would have just given me that weight a little bit. I was just waiting for the snare to drop and take it off. For me, the amen should be used as a break under a kick snare, but it's a great summer track. You took it in a rave direction, which was
I
unexpected.
love those rave sounds.
Which was unexpected, and I thought that was pretty cool. But maybe you could give a hint of what is to come by introducing that in a way, rather than just going, here's this track and then here's this track. I'd have liked to have heard okay, so you're going into the summer bit, right? And I'll try and do this audio wise without doing it. So you're going into the summer track, right? Blah, 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 blah. And then maybe you filter it down and you go to a drop where you bring that rave stab in, and then the rave stab comes up with a drum roll like da, 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 and now you go into the rave bit. I'm not a fan of a track just being one thing and then switching to another. I like elements to thread through so it's cohesive and it makes sense. But it worked. Look, it worked. Look. In the world today, there are producers, you are up against the best producers in the world. And you've got a great track there. It's got some really good legs, got some vibe. But you've got to start listening to how these producers, who are the best in the world, transition from one thing to another and how they marry the tune together. So it's one whole cohesive tune. Because as Scarface says, you are with the best right now. And they are the best. So take time to listen to how people do these transitions. For me, that's the difference between a completely professional finished tune and a track that still needs a little bit of love. And again, don't take offense. I get critique from my label manager on my track. I just hired a label manager this month. I've never done that for a long time. And I sent him 3 tracks and he gave me back feedback. This doesn't sound, blah, blah, this needs this and this needs that and blah, blah, blah. All right, then let's try it. Everybody needs a little feedback and help from each other. And that's why having good people around you that know what they're doing can give you feedback. But the best feedback you're going to get is to A/B with other people's tracks. Let's see. Drops variations so it never gets boring. You could have dropped the beats out, then brought them back in. Yeah, so Dapz, I want you to go to a part of the track where the summer part was happening, and I just want you to play it for a second. Okay, stop. Right there, if you just drop the drums out, you had an amazing breakdown. You have an amazing, intro.
Soulful.
Right there, that's your intro. Boom! You know what I mean? Put a filter on that.
This bit here.
Yeah, but the bit with the drums, all of that, you've got this huge chance and opportunity there. So I feel that was missed. But yeah, you've got everything there to make this magic and to have a hit smash on your hands. And that's what I'm trying to encourage you. You actually have a hit song here. Needs a little finagling. What's it Phoebe says in Friends? What's that thing on the plane? Have you got the bit that's missing? Fanushi or something. You need that missing bit. Anyway, the point is
it needs a nice vocal in there as well, just some nice wailing vocal, something to remember the tune by. Do you know what I mean? Something that gives this tune an identity, because that string in the pad is great, but I think just with a nice little vocal edit be nice.
Some kind of if you go on to Splice or whatever, and you phalange, that was the word, phalange. That's it. If you go on Splice and you look up Tool Room sample packs and go for that sort of diva vibe, just one one little thing, something like that to take it over the top. Again, stylistic choice, but It's how you turn a song into a
Yeah.
hit song that matters. You know what I mean? You've got all the elements there. So what we're trying to do is give you advice here that will turn this into a hit song. All right.
Like
Okay.
smelly cat, smelly cat. Yeah.
Okay.
Okey-
So
that's one of Phoebe's absolute classics. Come on.
it absolutely
Right.
is. But we're talking about the phalange here and what's missing.
We're talking about the D&B.
deep production terminology. Okay, look, we're going to go into, let's do a track by Barry Poor. How about Drug of Choice?
Drug of choice it is. What will it be? Let's go.
All right.
So, drug of choice. Lovely stuff.
Music is my drug of choice.
Music is my medicine.
Yeah.
You know, Barry, this is absolutely wicked, mate. Like, really, really good. Nice and tidy. The sounds you've chosen are nice. I just like how it's like progressive, but at the same time dreamy. You got a very like cinematic sort of feel going on here. What can I say about the actual mix down or something? So I'm just going to just play it again now, move it in and out of sides. So it's a great use of using the snare in stereo there. You can just hear like the knock from the snare, which is creating a nice bit of width. The hats, the atmosphere in the tune is going back to like the Inductions tune that we played earlier. It's a great use of stereo information here. That bass line there, you do lose a bit of it in mono. So in a club, you might lose that if this tune was played in a nightclub. I'll play it in mono again and I'll go back to stereo. To see how noticeable the tune, the bass line is in stereo compared to what it is in mono. It's a big difference there. And that's I'm guessing you've used some sort of stereo imaging or something to pull that bass line apart, which is cool. It's a good thing, but you need that mono compatibility again, what we spoke about in week 1. So maybe like look at what if you've created this bass in Serum or you've created it in a synth, you may have used Unison or some sort of stereo imaging where the sine, not the sine wave, but like the wave tables pulling it apart. So one's going to the left, one's going to the right, and what's happening is it's leaving a hole in the mids, like as in the middle, the mid, mono, whatever, whoever. So yeah, it's just little things like that. Looking on this meter here, the fundamental of the snare is really nice. It's this red sort of blob there.
Sorry to interrupt you. He's saying yes, Serum.
Okay, yeah, Serum. Have you used Unison to create the width? Because a lot of people that create basses in Serum, they tend to go for Unison, and they turn the knob and they're like, wow, that sounds amazing. But it's just, all it's doing is it's taking the signal and splitting it left and right with a slight millisecond delay of one or the other, and it's not always the best thing to do. So use it very wisely. Going back to the snare again, it looks great. See how much space there is, all these dark areas here. That's great because there's loads of space in the tune. You can see like the red blobs, which is the sub. You've got a lot of space in this tune, which is great. I don't think it's mastered. It looks very peaky, like there's a lot of peaks, so I don't think this is on a mastered level, or maybe you've just put a limiter on it yourself just to bring it up in level. But I would be more prone to bringing that fundamental of the snare up more to help it poke more. So if we just hover over that, the mouse hover the mouse over that fundamental, it's saying it's C3 at 265 hertz. So let's bring an EQ up quickly. We're dialing 256, and then we'll just see how it sounds when we push the fundamental out the snare. Okay, so there's something weird happening here. So every other beat, as in every other snare, your fundamental's hitting, and then there's no fundamental. So listen to it go boop, and then there's no body, and then it will go boop. If you have a look on here, look, really red, second snare, hardly anything. Really red, next snare, hardly anything. I'll press play again. Yeah, look.
Oh,
I don't know why that is.
Two different snares, Barry?
Are they two different snares, or maybe one snare layered on the second beat is phasing the lower harmonics out? I don't know, but I would be prone to look into that. It's something I just noticed now on the fly, because I just thought the fundamental needs to poke more. You know, it needs to be like more of a boop in there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's me in a nutshell on that one. But otherwise, Barry, this is great, mate. Like, great work, excellent.
And Barry, you cheeky monkey, you sent me 3 tunes. What are we, Aldi? Like, come on. It's 1 tune each. But I will tell you, this was the one that needed the most, because the others I thought were fantastic. I think, Barry, you're really doing well. And keep up the good work, mate. Proud of you. I've got some notes for this, if that's okay.
Yeah, go.
So good drums, good sounds, nice intro. I take very short notes. Sorry. Yeah, there's a part in the tune here where you've got a drum roll going on, but you let the drums carry on underneath it. I would drop the drums out there. It's a stylistic choice, but you want to give impact to when the drums come back in. So if you've got like a drum beat, bam, 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 you're recreating that excitement, you know, peaks and valleys and all that. But if you keep the drums going underneath the drum roll, you know, without filtering them out, or I would invite you to take them out completely, then you've kind of lost the point of having a drum roll, which is a variation to create separation, to create energy, to create a drop. So that's what I would have done there. Take the drums out when you bring the roll in. It's a little disjointed in the breakdown. I feel the energy goes down a bit. People will feel a bit lost on the dance floor. But I like the sounds again. Thread elements from the drop into it so it's cohesive. Let's just go to the drop a second, so I can see what I was talking about there. Would you refresh my memory there? Just into his second, so his breakdown, I guess, just before the breakdown.
The first breakdown.
Yeah, the first one. Just because I just want to make sure I was right with that information.
What, from the intro or from the actual tune into the
No,
middle
from the
breakdown?
tune into the next breakdown, but just a little bit before it. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not such a big deal, but for me, I would not play that intro and I'd have mixed another tune in now because I feel that the energy in that, it's just that, remember what we talked about last week, that people are all going through something when they're on the dance floor, right? You don't want to leave people feeling a little bit like, whoa, what's going on? Where am I? Keep on swimming. So, you want to make sure that there's something there, whether it's a hat or something to keep a rhythmic element going so they know something's coming. I'm just not a fan of gaps or silences or, after such a big tune. But it does make sense what you did in the track. So again, that's just a choice, that's... To me, the difference between a tune that's great and a tune that's a hit song are those differences. Now, I'm just the kind of producer that likes everything to be big. I like it to be emphasized. I like big drops. I like big drops, and I cannot lie. I like all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? And for me, those are the tunes I buy. Those are the tunes I support. Otherwise, it goes in the radio box. Just decide what you want, a massive dance floor track or a roller, or something that's going to be on the radio. There's nothing wrong with what you did whatsoever, but if you're like, no, I want to have the biggest dance tune out there, Booyaka Shack, then that's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah,
I'm feeling
big.
very lively today. I'm extremely animated because all my tech worked and I feel really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got, let's see. All right, time is flying.
I know.
Have we got one more of these? And then I'll switch
We
to a
got
couple of the
Island Sun, and then we got Tornado. Yeah, and that'd be it.
All right, and then we'll flick
Two
to a
tunes.
couple of bits that I've got real quick. So let's crack on with
Yep.
this, yeah?
Okay, just quickly, Diligent Fingers, big ups on the Chopper remix. Absolutely wicked. I remember bumping into you in Manchester a couple of months ago, and you dropped it there at the club, and it just went down tasty. So big ups on that, mate. Right, Island Sun. Lovely stuff. Island Sun business.
Just want to give it a big shout to everyone who's sending their tunes in, because I know it's scary and I think you guys are amazing. What you do is really important, no matter what stage you're at. You're all at different stages in your career right now and your music, and some of you are just starting, and it's incredibly brave of you what you're doing, because someone can say the wrong thing and it can just turn you off or break your heart if you're sensitive. You're an artist. So I want you to know that we appreciate everything you're doing, and that we really want to help you, and that's why we're giving up our evenings and doing this, because we want to see more people come up. And one of the things I've loved about these streams is the individuality and originality of the tracks that I'm seeing coming through. It's so refreshing that none of you sound like everyone else, and I think you're all really, really important. So please keep doing this. For those of you who are asking how you can send us tracks in the future, there's a link up there pinned. You just sign up to open the door, and when we do the next one, we will let you know how to send us tracks. Also, if you feel like supporting us, feel free to, Dapz will put a link up there as well. And if you are feeling like supporting me, I've got a new track called Higher out at the moment. I would appreciate a little love on Beatport for that. That would be great. And over to you for feedback, Dapz.
Yeah, honestly, this tune, I'm not going to lie, I love this sort of stuff, because for me, I love all the 96, 97 vibes. Rap will tell you, like, I've still got all them vinyls. I still stream all this on Twitch like that, so I can hear a little feedback there. I was like, hey, you can hear myself. I love this vibe. For me, I text Rap in the private message. I was saying this is like a Special K vibe, like one of those from Swoosh or one of them sort of vibes.
Yeah, I just saw your message. That's true.
Yeah, honestly, for me, this is like a nice vibe. How would it stand in the modern sort of world at the moment? I'm not too sure. I mean, you'd be able to play it in a set, that goes without saying. But I just think this is very, very different. It's very original, but on a more mid to late 90s vibe for me. I quite like it. The mix aspect in this. Just by looking at the wave, there's a little bit of imperfection going on. That can be from phase. It can be from a number of things. You know how we were looking at some of the other tunes, and I mean, that's lined off because it's been limited. That as well, been limited. I mean, I'm not saying you have to send your tracks limited, but see how like fluffy that is with all the spikes. When you look at the tune we're looking at now, see the drop is lower, and then it gets louder, and then it gets louder, then to the middle break, and then it's just a weird like shape what's happening. So that indicates more compression, more limiting, more clipping that's needed on the buses, on the basses, on the drums, just to squeeze the aspects in, bringing out elements and stuff. So I'm just gonna have a quick little play insides, because I wanted to hear what it sounds like insides. If it's gonna play. I don't know what happened there.
Can't hear
Can you
it.
hear that? No, I can't hear that. That's a bit weird. Oh, okay. Strange.
It felt like I can't hear it. There it is.
No, it's back. It's back. Yeah. So this is in sides. So So the track's very, very narrow. There's not a lot of width going on. Again, it's not a bad thing, but it'd be nice to have had some width from the drums in there. I mean, for what it is, it's cool. I think with a good master, it would definitely stand up nicer. But there would be some aspects would need addressing in the mix down, especially
there was some harsh elements in the intro loop. I've put in my notes some EQ on the top sound. It's a bit harsh. I don't know if you caught that there in the intro. There was some just sort of, I love the sounds, they're so unique, but there was definitely some harshness, a bit too toppy there. Yeah, no, definitely like it's around here, isn't it? You might the tingies things, but for me, just going in the tonal aspect, like you was saying, it's like applying an EQ setting with a tilt. That would just help it nicely.
So literally, you're bringing up the lows, you're dropping the highs. That's for me what it needs. It needs a good tilt on this tune. But yeah, I mean, what other notes have you got on this one then, Rat?
I'll be honest with you, this one I didn't have many notes because I really liked it.
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, I put some EQ on the top, sounds a bit harsh, some of the sounds. Love the vibe, total summer vibes. Maybe something to join the two tracks together, like a vocal you have there that is a bit buried. Good use of shakers, hats and sounds. Love it. Don't have much bad to say about this at all.
Yeah.
You know, I'm more focused on whether the tune's got, not the mix aspect or the technical aspect of it so much, but more about the vibe, because you can fix all those other things. You can't polish a turd. You can't have something, you know, with no vibe and suddenly make it, you know what I mean? So there was a vocal in that track somewhere, and I thought you could make more of that of a feature. So for me, again, I think in this week's stream, the common denominator is lack of variations and turnarounds, we call them, right? So variation in the sense of like every 8 bars something happens. You've got some vocals there you could be using. What I'm seeing is a lot of people putting all their sounds into the tracks and just letting them roll and roll and roll and roll, and not tearing them apart a little bit and making the track interesting with the 20 sounds that they have. You don't have to keep adding stuff. If you've got like the cake, the flour, the egg, the butter, everything's in there, but why have it just continuously churning? You know, have a few elements and bring them out. So if you've got a vocal there, you know, have the track play and then drop with that vocal and then kick back in like a snare, like boom, back in, you know, that kind of thing. So again, for me, it's just the arrangement, marrying the tracks together, making sure that they fit. But I love it. It's different, you know. And how will it stand up today? Okay, well, there's an easy solution to that. You know, if you're putting out your tracks yourself on a label, then you get people to remix them, and you put out a 3-track EP, you know, or something like that, or you get remixes and you do favors for people. You know, like I'll often do a remix for a swap for a remix, like Blade Runner and I do that, or, you know, or hey, play at my club, I'll play at yours. You know, there's a great barter system in the scene, and there's no, what's the worst that can happen? Someone can just say no, right? So definitely use your friends who are up and coming producers and shine a light on them as well if you can't get bigger remixes, or, you know, build your own little community. That's what Bristol did, and all these little cliques that are happening everywhere, they all started on their own because they're like, we need to get noticed. So utilize what's around you. Do you know what I mean? The friends that you've got that are producers, people like that, that will help you definitely. All right, we've got one more track here. It's DJ Ride. Hello, Ride. And it's a track called Tornado. Over to you, Dapz.
Right, here we are. Last one, peeps.
You only have 30 minutes until sunrise. Make this count.
So I got lost in the tornado.
I know. I got lost in a tornado. Can I just say a couple of bits real quick about this track?
Of course.
Before I forget that, that bit, that would have been so good rolling over that 808. That would have been so good if you'd kept that as a theme rolling through. I really, really like. We're going to do this backwards, Dap. I'm going to start first on this one.
Don't know. Go for it.
If you play the track and there's the bit that goes, the first bit of the bass, it goes whatever it does, and then the second bit. So I'm going to call bit
drop,
1 and bit 2. Yeah, on the drop. That's part 1. Stop. Okay, so part 2, the do, that is magic gold. I'm not a fan of the first bass. I don't think it's got enough weight. I think you want to look at, let's say you were making a sound of serum and you put it on an envelope and you just got one long sound like boom, dun, 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 dun. It needed, for me, that first bass just did not work. And Ride, I love the track. It's got so much potential. That hooky sound at the beginning, that's a hook right there. You've just made a massive hook. I love the way it came in. Some of the timing was a little tricky. That kick sounded a bit old school, like a bit like an 808 drum machine. So I think I would invite you to maybe use a better sound for that original rolling kick. Can you listen to that kick again and that roll? Just before the drop. No, go back. Sorry, back a bit further.
What, from the intro,
yeah, from where you were there. Like it though.
That's sort of like the intro, isn't it? This is it. When it drops, it's just like dol 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 dol. It's nice, but it needs to be aggressive. Like it needs to be aggy. And
it could be such a big track. I absolutely love this track. Like I would sign that track if it had that right bass in it. So for me, if you listen to a Blade Runner track or something like that, the way he drops in, or Serum or any of those guys, or Harley, that there's a certain drop that was missing from this, from stopping you having a monster anthem. That's what I think about this tune. And as I'm going first, I may as well put in here, I put great intro, needs that heavy drop that is missing when you listen, blah, blah, blah. When you listen on desktop phone, remember to listen to your music on all formats. It's a wonderful choice of sounds. For me, this is a mixed thing, and you need that one bass line that's missing. It could be a really big hit. That's what I've put here. Yeah. So I'll leave it to you.
Like you just said, all the elements in this tune, it's got all the ingredients. It's purely a mix thing, and it's just about pulling the track apart, getting the right layout, the call and response from that first bass to the second bass. Because as you've just said, when it builds up and it drops here,
I love that bit.
You know what I mean?
So
that could be potentially the drop there. And then it comes into as a rollout something. Do you know what I mean?
I would nix that bass.
Yeah, definitely. And then you come into this like whole Dillinger sort of like fugged out business. On this 808 here.
It needs to happen again. Make that a feature. Yeah. That's a feature. It's a hook. Make use of all your hooks.
Definitely. I mean, but again, you need that harmonic content in that 808. And so it's like bam, 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 but instead of it being boom, 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 boom.
And by the way, that's a super easy fix. I'm not sure what you're using. There's a million things you can do to do that.
Millions of things you can do on that.
Melda is what I use to bring that in. Or you could use Trash, or you can use like a million things, like, whatever. There's a million things just to bring those even in Serum, you could just go to the writing part in Serum and change some of the fundamentals and bring out some of those harmonies a little bit, whenever you're using an 808, it will disappear on radio, and it will disappear if it's just subs. So you've got to make sure some of that mid-range is cutting through.
Yeah, 100%. So we know that all the elements are there. It just needs roughing up. Like the 808 needs more harmonic content, and that, it's like an elastic bass. This is. I'd come away with that dull sound and just come with something a bit more punishing.
Well, Well,
There's
he's
no
already got
si-
the 808 there. All he needs to do is put a bit of distortion
It's true,
on that
actually.
808.
It's true.
And then
It's
you've got
true.
the track. You have the distortion on the 808 kicking off. So boom, 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 do, 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 you know.
You know what? You're
Don't
absolutely
sample
right.
me.
No,
But that's what
you're
I
right,
would do.
actually.
You've got everything there.
Yeah, he could come like this. Look, hang on. I've just chopped the tune up a little bit. Check
Audio
this,
jitsu
look.
moment, people. That's it right there. There's your tune.
Yeah, that's the layout.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my
Imagine
God,
that on the
that's
drop.
well
Come on.
done. Applause, everyone. That was brilliant. Ride. We want half the publishing.
Yeah, done. But just quickly then, because obviously we do want to answer some questions in the last bit. But for me, it needs a side chaining as well. You can see here. Look, there's no separation between the kick and the bass. There's only a pause when the actual bass finishes playing.
You only have 30 minutes until sunrise.
I mean, there's a prime example. I don't know if you can see what I'm looking at here. This
Fix that
blob.
tune up and send it to me. I'll
Yeah.
sign it. I love it.
See how the bass is just solid line there, and then it comes into the kick, but there's no distinct. It doesn't separate from the kick to the bass. It just travels all the way through, and that's a problem. The other thing is the snare. It just feels like it's there, but it's just brushing across my cheek. Do you know what I mean? It's just I need to feel the snare. So I'm going to put this transient shaper on there, and I'll just try and isolate where the snare's hitting. And like an idiot, I've just got rid of this. Right, so let's have a look, see where the snare is actually hitting.
You only have 30 minutes until sunrise.
So yeah, it's just around here, which is about 1.5k. So let's just isolate 1.5k on this transient shaper here. Get rid of that. Let's just bring this up. Bring the snare forward so it snaps. Let's have a look.
You only have 30 minutes until sunrise. You only have 30 minutes until sunrise.
It's doing it very subtle. Like it's very subtle. Let's try and make it more obvious.
You only have 30 minutes until sunrise.
Bypass.
You only have
It's pulling some of the excuse me. It's pulling some of the elements up, but you kind of get the idea. The snare needs to go like it needs to click rather than just brush. If you know what I mean.
Slap you round the face like a wet fish, mate.
With a kipper.
Like a kipper. All right, look, I tell you what, we've had so much fun doing this. It's so awesome. Last week, we had some technical difficulties and I wasn't able to give a little bit of feedback. If you guys have questions, start putting them in the chat. Dapz, do you want to start monitoring some questions?
Yeah, of course. We're done with my screen now. I can pull that down. Yeah.
Yeah, your
As
screen's
in my door. Sorry, my door.
Yeah, your door is closed.
Well and truly.
Well and truly. But if you've got some questions, drop them in there and we can answer. We've got 15 minutes left. But I just wanted to show you a couple of little bit. And Dapz, will you let me know if this is if it's all showing and all that stuff? Let's have 1 second. Here we go.
Let's go.
All right, let's see. Hold on 1 sec.
I think the poll's going to be live as of tomorrow, I believe, Barry.
No, the poll can be live now, and
is it?
actually, yeah. Do you want me to drop that link back in there?
Oh, sorry, yeah. If
Do you
it's
guys want
ready
me
to
to
go,
drop
it's
the
ready
link
to
in
go.
there? I'm going to drop all the links in here real quick. Every link I've ever had in my whole life. So let me tell you what's in this that I'm dropping right now, so you guys know. You've got my website, obviously, my new track. Would love your support. Bless, big up. Here we go. Open the door. If you sign up to that, it's free. When we next decide to do this, we'll notify you. We've already got 600 odd subscribers, so that would be great. And then we'll let you know how you can send us tracks when we do it again, because I think we will do this again. If you're just interested in everything that's going on in DJ Rap World, there's a newsletter that goes out on the 1st of every month, tells you where I'm playing, what I'm doing, what goodies are happening, blah, blah, blah. And then if you're interested in the Tribe, which is a subscription service that I have where it's a community of massive jungle heads. I stream, I do Zoom hangs, hang out with everybody. You get goodies every single Monday. It's free for the first month, so you can always try it. It starts at $2.99. There's 3 different tiers there. feel free to check out some of those links. Share this stream around. It helps Dapz and I in this world more than you can know. And subscribe to our channels, our YouTube channels, whatever. And by the way, as a gift, you know, I have edited all of these down. I'll be editing this one down, and then I will make sure to put the edited versions of these and send them to everybody who signed up as a special thank you for joining us, so you don't have to listen to all the waffle.
The waffle and toffle.
All right, let's see. What have we got here? All right, I'm going to go through this. I'm going to make it big. Can you see it big, Dapz?
Yep, big and addy pig.
Big, fat, and heavy. All right, so I'm flying blind. I'm not seeing my screen. I'm just seeing the Ableton here. So there was a couple of things. I just wanted to point out one thing real small. We'll start with something really little. Let's see. Something easy. Something easy. I want to show you the difference between something that has glitter and something that doesn't. This was a track called Promises by Click. So we'll just play a very little bit of it here. All right, now let's just drop some glitter in.
I was like lost right there, just
It's a beautiful track, isn't it? It's gorgeous. Let's just drop some glitterati. It's a huge difference just adding glitter to your tracks and EQing your effects and doing all of that stuff, right? Remember, we talked about that before. It's a small thing. Here we've got D Manic's track, and what I did was some audio jitsu on it, and I rearranged it a bit, which I don't like to do. It's not my track, but we talked about his drop being in the right place last time. Let's see what we got here. Give me a second. All right, so before... Yeah, that's it. That's how this works. Before his track goes into the breakdown, and what happened was, is it goes into the breakdown. And it's an awesome breakdown, and then it starts to kick up again here. And then it finishes here. And goes into another breakdown, which is just like, you know.
Yeah,
so
I remember this from last week.
Yeah, so I'm just going to play this instead. This is what I did. I took his breakdown, flipped it and reversed it, and basically just then added some more extra parts to keep it going because I felt the track was so awesome. Hopefully the volume is good enough.
Rejection. Do you remember the last time you felt rejected?
Okay, so that is this breakdown now flipped into the front. I'm going to go a bit further up. And then last but not least, and it carries on, which is awesome, I've also added a change, a mix out bit here. You can see this little section here because he didn't do a mix out. So for me... You know, just so that it lets you down gently, and it's such a great track. I mean, you can't really get that wrong. So a little bit of audio jitsu in that, and you can make that track totally work. Let's have a look. Okay, so there's a couple of other tracks here. There's one track here. Let's see what we did with this one. Wayne. Oh, this is What the Time Dread. Do you remember that remix that he did last week? And I'm going to take away the added. So what I was talking about here was how to make adding bits and drums to keep things a bit interesting. So this is what we had. Oh, shoot. Put it in.
Yeah, definitely, Wob. I like your comment there, mate.
Let's go here.
Hey.
So this is what we had. And what I did, I thought I would add a little bit of just some breaks and things like that, so that when this kicked in...
I think you doubled up there, right?
I know, I've seen it.
On it.
Even if at the beginning you just added...
Yeah, that like aim and fill.
Just some variations. Like, this is super rough, man, because I ain't got time to make everybody's tracks or do it. But the point is, just a little bit of something.
Of something coming in and out. You could bang a filter on that so the aiming filters in, you know, like you say. To
give it that energy, you know, that was basically my thought process with that, was just give it a bit of energy. And I'm not sure where we're at with time, but we've got a couple of tracks here where, and again, you know, it's simple things. It doesn't have to be complicated, but glitter is so important, because, you know, you can have a track like this here, right? Well, I think this is the house track, which is perfectly fine like this on its own, but tuning your risers so that they fit. You'll see. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here we go. Let's just put this.
Yeah, that breaks a nice break there, Moisin. I believe it
Is
may
Moisin
be
in the house.
Moisin's in the house.
Hey, Moisin! Oh, we haven't got time to play all of it, so let me just drop us into this bit here. Ain't nobody got time for that. Fantastic track.
Hey.
Now, it's a stylistic choice, because actually you don't need all this stuff that I'm putting in there. But for me, this is the difference between me playing the track out and getting the reaction that I want from the crowd, high energy.
That's nice.
It's little things. It's a reverse cymbal. It's the little ambi kick there, you know, just do an 808, shave off the bottom end and put some long reverb on that. It's a riser. These little sounds will just change the dynamics of the track. And a lot of the times it's all about the dynamics. Now, the track that I struggled with, and I wasn't sure if I should even showcase this, was because I think we had a difference of opinion, didn't we, Dapz, over this D-Manic one, did we?
Just refresh my mind on this one.
All right, I'll play you a little bit of this here. Cause,
DJ Undertaker in the place.
Yeah, we're going to be signing that track.
Boom.
He's lovely.
Big ups, Take Me Back.
Oh, that's not it. What am I doing? D-Manic. Is it this one? No, it wasn't D-Manic. It was Anthony, this one here. There we go. This track. This one was giving me headaches. I was trying to figure out, because I was getting into trouble. I was starting to rewrite a track and it wasn't mine to do that. And
you can get lost. You can get lost into doing stuff like that. But
yeah,
big up Jungle Rhythms. See you later, bro.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
And then do you remember how it went into this sort of really cool section? Let's forward this a bit. Where is it? So it goes. Anyway, to me, it was a little bit sort of, I mean, the drums, I've messed the drums up there, but it was a little bit sort of, and I was
Disjointed.
like, maybe if something was a bit simpler in the beginning, but it's really hard without having the stems to actually do what you want to do to the track and show. But I thought it could have a really nice sort of breakdown. And obviously I don't have his parts, but let's say,
Yeah.
now, you know, you can make that a big hip hop dubstep moment. And that's what I mean, like these little things. Let me just get
Trap
rid of
it
this.
out a little bit. That'd be quite
Trap
nice
it
as well.
out a little bit. Hold on a minute.
Trap it out.
Trap it out. Stop share. 1 second. Let me
That's all good.
focus.
There
properly.
is a couple of questions still.
We'll get to them, but you could do little things like that, little changes that will make the track. But you can see how just simple little things like some glitter effects and all of that stuff is important. The important thing I want to leave you with today before we get to your questions is this. You can't polish a turd. Write the vibe, the rest of the tune will come. All the technology, all the mixing, all the EQing, that can be learned. Talent cannot be learned. Do you know what I mean? So keep doing what you're doing. Some of the best tracks I've had are the tracks that I wrote 20 years ago and then I started to revisit them. I just gave a tracks to Dapz yesterday that I've been working on for 4 months, you know, because I knew it had something, but it wasn't quite there. And I kept going back towards it in between other tracks. Take your time. And sometimes you'll listen to a track and because you've been playing it so much, you sort of get deaf to it. And then 4 months later, you'll go back and go, what was that? And you go, my God, that was really good. Why didn't I do something with that? So, or you'll go back and you go, what a bag of waste. So,
What was I on that day? You know.
yeah. All right. What questions do we have?
DJ Ride. He's asked 2 questions, very similar. What luffs should I be aiming for in drum and bass? And what luffs should I be aiming for in drum and bass final masters? The answer is it depends, because it depends on what your track can handle or what it can take. But if you want an honest answer, anything between -6 luffs short term, I mean, that's a safe bet. If you want to go louder because you feel loudness is a very important aspect of your music, then -5. If your track can take it, -4. I mean, we're getting ridiculously loud now, which is jump up Nero sort of territory. So again, if you got a liquid tune, probably anything between -7 and -6. It doesn't need to be loud. Liquid don't, because that's just the nature of the tune. It's got to sound nice.
Explain to people what a luft is.
It's loudness units full scale. So it's basically the lufs meter would listen to the audio. If it's short term, I believe it's something like 1.5 seconds. So every 1.5 seconds, it tells you the average. And momentarily is obviously as it is in real time. And then you have integrated, which is how Spotify measures the audio, and I think that's 3 seconds. I might be wrong, but it's around them times. So when they say -14 lufs integrated, that could be anything like -9 lufs in short term. But to answer the question, it depends, because it depends on what you're going for. If you want loud, then try and make the track loud. Don't rely on the mastering engineer to make it loud. It has to be in the mix. The mastering engineer can get it so far until the track breaks up. There's another question, and I think this is actually a real question. What if you have no friends? From AWOL. I think what you might be asking is support. Once, if you have no support, do you feel lonely in the scene? You might be making bangers, but you've got no one to show them to. I probably would advise going on like Discord servers or groups, you know, online services, and just show music to people.
Everybody is lonely in the sea. We're all on our own here. That's why I started the tribe, because I moved from America and I was like lonely as hell. And I was like, I want people to talk to, like jungle music. Like, you know, it's hard. And as a musician, it's hard because you are alone in the hotel room, alone in the studio, alone on tour, unless you're some massive DJ and you've got, you know, your entourage with you. You're alone all the time. This is a lonely business. And it's important to have a support system, and it's important to, you know, not be afraid to have a go at someone if they've not called you, like blah blah blah, like come on, like let's all make sure we all look out for each other, because one of the
Yeah.
things that I loved about this scene, that was special about this scene, was community, and that's somewhat lost nowadays. It's like very fragmented, everyone's doing their thing, everyone's stressed about money, everyone's stressed about everything, and that's why these things is a chance for us to bring people together and do something. Got some more questions here. Also,
Do you
should
want
it
to
be,
answer Spencer's question about how smelly Moisen is?
how do you wash Moisten off when he's been in the studio? I don't know what that means. He's just good vibes. He's good people. You don't wash him
Trust
off.
me.
You keep the smell.
This is it. Have him lingering around. You know what I mean?
All right. If you've got no more questions, because we are running over now.
Yeah.
Anyone else, shoot your question now. But if you are interested in sending us tunes, the links are at the top. Grab them quickly now. You can send us tunes and we will notify you when you sign up to open the door, which is on my website, djrap.com. You'll see a big flashing button saying join the tribe. Underneath that button is a sub menu, and you can sign up for my newsletter, open the door, or you could just click the join the tribe and try it out, and enjoy all the music I stream for everybody privately. Let's see if there's anything
There's some
else.
fun. Spencer's being funny, man. But DJ Ryder says also, should it be minus 1 dB or minus 0.1 dB on the final output? So this is going back to episode 1. If you go back to episode 1, we spoke about this in a bit of detail, in order to help like poor DA converters, when your track's playing in a car, when it's playing on SoundCloud or whatever, having a margin of say minus 0.1, 0.2. Spotify recommends you do minus 0.1, minus 1. It is down to, again, what format you're going for. But in typical.
Do you know what? You and I could be like the posh and Bex of the drum and bass scene, because someone here has just gone, respect to this Dapz and Raps.
Yeah, that's
and
Paul Rayner, the man.
I thought Pecs and Dex. Do you know what I mean? It sounds pretty good.
It's good to see you on there though, Rayner, man. Like,
It is.
I remember Rayner from 5HQ days. He's made some absolute belters. You know what I mean?
Big up to
5HQ.
you.
Honestly, legend, mate, legend.
Well, we'd like to say thank you so much. We've really enjoyed this month with you. We've spent a whole month with you. We love this. I think we'll do it again. I can't thank Dapz enough for his energy, time, and endless knowledge and patience. And it wasn't always easy getting this to work. There was lots of technical things, and but he stuck with it, and we ended up having a brilliant time. And I think we're just getting into our stride now. We love it. If you want to do this again, please fill out the poll. In fact, I'm going to stick that blood clot poll number in here. Hold on a second here. Just put that in.
Big up, man.
Because
anchovy.
we need to know if this is something you want us to do.
Yeah.
And if it is, then we'll do it. If it isn't, then enjoy it when we do it for free, no problem.
Yeah.
Just can't do it all the time, bills to pay.
Yeah.
And that. But thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Dapz, and thank you to all you
so
guys.
much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much to everyone, though. You lot made it brilliant. Your bravery, sending us your tunes, making this a community event. Really appreciate that. And we really appreciate the shares. If this gets any, thank you so much. We know we're new starting here on this platform doing this, but we still appreciate all the love you can give us. So thank you so much, everybody. We love you a long time. See you next time when we open that door. Mwah. Bye.